Atmanam sarvabhuteshu Bhagavantam avasthitam Apashyat sarvabhutani Bhagavati apichatmani Atmanam sarvabhuteshu Bhagavastita sarvabhutani Bhagavati apichatmani Atmanam sarvabhuteshu Bhagavantam avasthitam Pashyat sarvabhutani Bhagavati apichatmani Atmanam sarvabhuteshu Bhagavantam avasthitam apichatmani Atmanam sarvabhuteshu Bhagavantam avasthitam Pashyat sarvabhutani Bhagavati apichatmani Atmanam sarvabhuteshu Bhagavantam avasthitam Apashyat sarvabhutani Bhagavati apichatmani. Transliteration, please repeat after me. Atmanam, the super soul, sarvabhuteshu, in all living beings, Bhagavantam, the supreme personality of Godhead, avasthitam, situated, apashyat, he saw, sarvabhutani, all living beings, Bhagavati, in the supreme personality of Godhead, api, moreover, cha, and atmani, on the super soul. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Please repeat after me. He began to see that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is seated in everyone's heart, and that everyone is existing on Him. Because He is the super soul of everyone. Purport: that everyone is existing on the Supreme Personality of Godhead does not mean that everyone is also Godhead. This is also explained in Bhagavad Gita. Everything is resting on Him, the Supreme Lord, but that does not mean that the Supreme Lord is also everywhere. This mysterious position has to be understood by highly advanced devotees. There are three kinds of devotees: the neophyte devotees, the intermediate devotee, and the advanced devotee. The neophyte devotee does not understand the techniques of devotional science, but simply offers devotional service to the deity in the temple. The intermediate devotee understands who God is, who is a devotee, who is a non-devotee, and who is innocent, and he deals with such persons differently. But a person who sees that the Lord is sitting as Paramatma in everyone's heart, and that everything is depending or existing on the transcendental energy of the Supreme Lord is in the highest devotional position. Okay. Om Jnanaatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Shakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Teshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhibhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Mukham karoti vatsalam pango langayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Guru Shri Tinadarinam. Tavaivasmi na jivami tavaivina iti vijñade vitvam nayamam charanantikam. Hare Krishna, everyone. Krishna. Please welcome to this morning's Bhagavatam class. Today is the auspicious appearance day of Sri Advaita Acharya. So we will speak about him later, if time permits. Here the chapter Renunciation of Kardama Muni. We can see Kardama Muni was instructed by his son Kapiladev, and he takes leave from his son and goes to the forest or wanders around the earth and meditating on the Lord. And through this process, he realizes the Paramatma in everyone's heart, and he also understands that everyone is existing because of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he is the super soul of everyone. Okay, so we understand from, chapter 1, Canto 1, chapter 2, text 11, Srimad Bhagavatam, Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvam jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaneti shabdyataha. So there's three ways of realizing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is the Brahman realization, there is Paramatma realization, and the topmost is the Bhagavan realization. And the word used in that verse is Advayam, similar to Advaita Acharya. Advayam means non-different. So these three realizations are non-different. It's the same person. But generally people with lower realization, people who follow the Jnana Marga, try to speculate, try to understand the various elements, and eventually come to an understanding. They end up at the Brahman realization. But this Brahman realization is considered a lower level of realization. And the yogis who perform the Ashtanga Yoga process, they eventually come to the realization of Paramatma, Paramatma realization. And they understand that Paramatma is situated in the heart through meditation process. Through meditation, they're not meditating on nothing. They're actually meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead situated in one's heart. And they come to Paramatma realization. They understand Paramatma is situated in everyone's heart, and because of his presence, this body works. Even as we all know the conditional souls accepts a body. Even if it accepts the body doesn't function unless the Paramatma is present. So the super soul, the individual soul is still dependent on the Paramatma to even function this material body. So the claim that just because the soul is there, the body is active, that's only a partial understanding. You have to have the Paramatma present next to the soul to even let the soul operate this body. So that's Paramatma realization. And also that realization extends. One understands, coming to that platform, one understands that the Paramatma is not just situated in my heart, he is also situated in everyone's heart. He is present in everyone. And not only everyone, within every atom he is present. Just because of his presence within every atom, within every body, within every universe, those particular objects are functioning, are becoming active. So that's understanding of a Paramatma realization. And the topmost realization is, of course, realizing Krishna in his personal form as Akhila Rasamrita Sindhu, a person with all rasas, all mellows, a person with all mellows present as Radha and Krishna. So that's the highest understanding of devotee. So one might ask here, Kardama Muni, so is he on the second grade? Because just now he is understanding the Paramatma. So is he second grade? My understanding is, no, that's not the case here. Because Kardama Muni is not an ordinary person. He performed a lot of austerities, tapasya, and he managed to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. The Vishnu, Lord Krishna in the form of Vishnu, actually appeared before Kardama Muni. Not only he appeared before Kardama Muni, he hugged him. He gave him a hug. And because looking at the austerities performed by Kardama Muni, Lord Vishnu actually had tears flowing from his eyes. So Kardama Muni is not an ordinary soul. If he is not a second-tier devotee. Here he has seen the Lord, pratyaksha, within his eyes. So he must be the topmost devotee. And we can also see in the pastime of Dhruva Maharaj, when the Lord appeared before Dhruva Maharaj, any material desires Dhruva Maharaj had in his heart disappeared. And especially when the Lord touched Dhruva Maharaj with his conch shell, which is Panchajanya, when he touched Dhruva Maharaj. And Dhruva Maharaj is considered to be a great devotee, even though he started his process of devotional service with some material motivation. There was a karma mishra bhakti, there was some material motivation. But he got to see the Lord, and he is considered a topmost devotee. Similarly here, Kardama Muni also got to see the Lord face to face. He interacted with the Lord, the Lord embraced him. And not only that, the Lord actually appeared as his child, as his son. And Kardama Muni got to enjoy having Kapila Muni as his child. And he saw Kapila Muni grow up in front of his eyes, had the good fortune to interact with him growing up. So we can see he is in the same platform of Nanda Maharaj. And Nanda Maharaj is not an ordinary devotee. Similarly, here, Kardama Muni is not an ordinary devotee. He is not a second-tier devotee. So why is he understanding Paramatma feature only here, at this time? So the interpretation is, or the understanding is, when one realizes the Supreme Personality of God, Krishna, in his Shyamasundar form, automatically the other two subsequent understanding gets revealed. Say, if you buy a car, if you buy a brand new car with all the top specs, automatically you are given a headlight. You don't need to go and buy a headlight separately. The headlights are already provided, part of that. So when you buy a car, the headlight is there. The headlight is, you can compare it to, like the Brahman realization. So the people who are wanting Brahman realization are people who are wanting to just buy the headlights. What are you going to do with the headlight? It actually blinds you. If you look at a headlight, it blinds you. That's why in India they put a black dot. It's mandatory to have a black dot on the headlight because it blinds the opposite travelers. So the Brahman realization is actually, it's not really helping to reveal the Supreme Personality of God. It is actually blinding. And the Paramatma realization is again a partial realization. You just understand that He's present everywhere, but you don't know Him as a person where you can interact. It's like having a, in 70s and 80s they used to have 8-deck. Is it 8-deck? 8-deck media players in the cars. So it's kind of outdated. You don't even use it anymore. Similarly, understanding Paramatma is kind of really not useful because you don't even use them anymore. But if you purchase the whole car, if you understand the Supreme Personality of God directly, automatically, you understand the Paramatma feature. It comes with whatever modern media player it has. You don't need to get an outdated media player. And it also comes with a headlight. You don't need to separately endeavor for it. Similarly here, Kardama Muni is a very advanced devotee, and he has realized the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he had the good fortune to interact with the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly. And because of that, the fringe benefits he is getting are the realization of Paramatma and the realization of Brahman. So he's understanding the Lord with his other features. So that's how one sees, one understands, because he has realized the Supreme Personality already. So generally, the Prabhupada here talks about the three kinds of devotees. The highest form of devotees are, they have the understanding. They know the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they understand, they have the same realization as Kardama Muni, that the Lord expands Himself and present as Paramatma in everyone's heart. So it's a top-down approach. They know the Lord, and because of they know the Lord, they know that Paramatma is present. It's not like the Jnanis. They eventually understand through the Jnana process, the material, the speculative process, and understand. The yogis who perform Ashtanga yoga and meditation, and then eventually get to see the Lord as Paramatma. No, that's not the case here. Here, the advanced devotees, they know the Supreme Personality of Godhead through pure, unalloyed devotional service, and through that process, they have the subsequent realizations or the fringe realizations of Paramatma. So naturally, they see every living entity as part and parcel of the Lord. What is that verse? Chapter 5, text 18. Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmana gavi hastini sunicheva supakecha pandita samadarshinaha. So, advanced devotee, knowing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, understands that He is also present as Paramatma in everyone's heart. Since he understands that, he sees every living entity as part and parcel of the Lord. So these are devotees of higher standard. So naturally what happens is devotees of this higher standard, they see Lord everywhere, and they consider everybody a better devotee than themselves. They see, Krishna is present in everybody's heart, so they must be all devotees of higher standard than himself. So he generally loses the ability to preach, because he sees them lower than everybody else, because he sees the Lord in everybody's heart. So that's the topmost devotee, the Uttamadhikari. So he is always observed in the pastimes of the Lord. So in the previous verses, you can see the Kardama Muni was just roaming around the world, really not relating to anything material, and he was completely absorbed in the thought inwards. That's a word used in text 44. He is focused inwards. So the understanding, one might interpret the inwards means he is meditating on the Paramatma. That's just partial understanding. My understanding is, I don't know if it is my understanding, is a full understanding, but he's a pure devotee, and he's observed, because being a Uttamadhikari, he's constantly observed on the thought process, on the thought, pastimes, activities of the Lord. he has seen the Lord, so he knows the physical form of the Lord, how the Lord looks like, what's his form, what's his complexion, what he's wearing, and his clothes, and also he's seen him as his son. So he knows the Lord in a very intimate way. So inwardly, when the word says inwardly, he's focused inwardly, it means he's meditating on Janma Karma Chame Divyam, on the birth, activities, and pastimes of the Lord in a more intimate way, and not just trying to understand his Paramatma feature. Then Prabhupada describes about Madhyamadhikaris. Madhyamadhikaris are devotees who understand Krishna, and they also understand who is a devotee and who is not a non-devotee. So they employ a bit of discrimination. They are not like Uttamadhikari who sees everyone superior to himself. They know who is a devotee, who is performing devotional activities, and who is not a devotee. So according to that discrimination, he changes his relationship. So with the advanced devotee, he worships the advanced devotee. He offers service to the advanced devotee. For a devotee of his own, his equal, the Madhyamadhikari deals with him in a friendly way. So he treats him as a friend, discloses his mind, so deals with him in a level of friendship. And for devotees who are neophytes, who are new to the process, he deals with them in a more compassionate way. He deals with them in a compassionate way. He tries to help them. He provides them guidance. So Madhyamadhikari discriminates and acts according to the nature of the devotee. Not only that, he also avoids non-devotees, because he knows associating with non-devotees only will drag his devotional nature to the lower modes. So when he comes across non-devotees who are not interested in Krishna, who are not interested to hear about the preaching, the knowledge offered in the Shastras, he avoids them. So that's the Madhyamadhikari. And the neophyte devotee is devotee who has some information, and his faith is fragile, and he is based on, his whole devotional service is based on worshipping the deity, and he only accepts the deity form of Krishna, but he rejects the other devotees. He doesn't know how to interact or pay proper respects to the other devotees. His only focus is on deity. So here, Kardama Muni is not a neophyte devotee because he is fully realized. He has seen the Supreme Personality Godhead face to face, and he is not acting in Madhyama platform because he is not discriminating. In previous verses, you can see he is not discriminating. He is completely oblivious of everything material. So he's not acting in Madhyama platform neither. So naturally, he's acting on the Uttama platform, where he's completely absorbed in the activities of the Lord. So that platform is explained in Bhagavad Gita in chapter 2, text 55. Krishna says, Bhagavan Vacha, Prajapati yatha kaman sarvam partha manoratha atmani eva atmani tishtati sthita prajna taduchyate. Prajapati yatha kaman. He's completely free. He's completely free. His mind is completely free from all the things which is resulting, all the happiness, distress which is resulting from the interaction of the mind. And he's completely absorbed. His mind is completely absorbed. Atmani eva atmani. His mind is completely observed on the soul, on the true nature of the soul. And what is the true nature of the soul? To be servant of Krishna. So, Atmani eva atmani tushtati. So his mind is completely absorbed in the true nature of the soul. Therefore, thereby he is called Asita Pragya, or completely fixed. So that is Kardama Muni here. He is completely fixed on the Lord and his pastimes and his activities. It's the similar personalities are Prahlad Maharaj. So usually for this verse, Prahlad Maharaj is given as an example for the Bhagavad Gita verse, where he is completely absorbed. He is not at all. He doesn't even know that his physical body is going through suffering. He's completely situated in the soul that he's always blissful, even though his father is torturing him. His physical body is put through various calamities, but since Atmani eva Atmani Tishtati is completely observed on the nature of the soul, this external suffering his body is going through, it doesn't even affect him. He's in a blissful state. He's getting thrown in a pot of boiling oil. Is completely blissful. He doesn't even realize that his physical body is getting burnt. So that is the state. That is a similar state Kardama Muni is situated now, because he had the good fortune to have Kapiladev as his child. So I will stop here, speaking on this particular verse, and let's meditate on Advaita Acharya, whose auspicious appearance day today. Right. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 6, describes Advaita Acharya. Somebody put the bookmark out already, so somebody's been reading. So Prabhupada, on the introduction to the 6th chapter, says the truth of Advaita Acharya has been described in 2 verses. It is said that the material nature has 2 features, namely the material cause and the efficient cause. The material cause are the living entities, and the efficient cause is the Upadrishta Anumanta, who makes it happen. The efficient causal activities are caused by Mahavishnu, and the material causal activities are caused by another form of Mahavishnu known as Advaita. That Advaita, the superintendent of the cosmic manifestation, has descended in the form of Advaita Acharya to associate with Lord Chaitanya. When he is addressed as the servitor of Lord Chaitanya, his glories are magnified, because unless one is invigorated by this mentality of servitorship, one cannot understand the mellows derived from devotion service to the Supreme Lord Krishna. All right, the verse, Vande tam Srimad Advaita Acharyam Adbhuta Cheshitam Yasya Prasada Agnya Api Tat Swarupam Nirupayet. I offer my respectful obeisances to Sri Advaita Acharya, whose activities are all wonderful. By his mercy, even a foolish person can describe his character. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. All glories to Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all glories to Lord Nityananda, all glories to Advaita Acharya, and all glories to all the devotees of Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Pancha Shloko Kahile Shri Nityananda Tattva Shloka Dvaya Kahi Advaita Acharya Mat Mahat Tattva. In first 5 verses, I have described the principle of Lord Nityananda. Then in the following 2 verses, I describe the glories of Sri Advaita Acharya. I'll just read a couple of verses and then we can discuss about Advaita Acharya. Mahavishnu Jagat Karta Maya Ya Srijata Adam Tasyavatara Evayam Advaita Acharya Ishvara. Lord Advaita Acharya is the incarnation of Mahavishnu, whose main function is to create the cosmic world to the action of Maya. Advaitam Harinadvaitat Acharyam Bhakti Shamsanat Bhaktavataram Isham Tam Advaitacharyam Ashrayem. Because he is non-different from Hari, the Supreme Lord, he is called Advaita. And because he propagates the cult of devotion, he is called Acharya. He is the Lord and the incarnation of Lord's devotees. Therefore, I take shelter of him. Shri Advaita Acharya Mahashai Ki. Go Premanande. Okay, Advaita Acharya, we know he's the principal, one of the principal associates of Mahaprabhu. So we worship him every day by chanting Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda before we even chant the Mahamantra. He's also worshipped through the prayer Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakti Shaktikam. So he's worshipped as Bhaktavataram. So the same thing mentioned in text 5 here. So Advaita Acharya is quite older than Mahaprabhu. He's an elderly associate of Mahaprabhu. When Madhavendra Puri on Gopal's request, went to Puri to gather, what did he go? To Puri, why did he go? Sandalwood and camphor. To get sandalwood and camphor from Puri, he took the path, he followed the stream of Ganges. And the stream of Ganges leads you to Shantipur and also to Navadip in West Bengal. So he stayed, Madhavendra Puri stayed one night at Advaita Acharya's house, and he initiated Advaita Acharya from his one night staying at his place. And then he proceeded to Puri. So Advaita Acharya got initiated by Madhavendra Puri. So Madhavendra Puri is a grand guru of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Mahaprabhu's guru is Ishvara Puri, and Ishvara Puri's guru is Madhavendra Puri. And Madhavendra Puri initiated Advaita Acharya. So Ishvara Puri and Advaita Acharya are god brothers. In that sense, Advaita Acharya is on the same platform of a guru to Mahaprabhu. So he's an elderly person. So it is said that when Mahaprabhu started the Sankirtan movement, Advaita Acharya was already 72 years of age. He was already 72 years of age. And Advaita Acharya, being the resident of Shantipur, and which is a nearby town to Navadip, Navadip used to be a place of highly intellectual devotees. But as the age progressed, Navadip, the residents of the devotees become, or the residents of Navadip become dry philosophers. They stopped appreciating bhakti. They're becoming more and more of jnani mentality. So he took compassion, Advaita Acharya took compassion over the residents of Navadip and overall the residents of the whole world, understanding the progress of Kali Yuga. So he worshipped Mahaprabhu and worshipped Mahaprabhu to descend, worshipped Krishna to descend. He read from Bhagavad Gita the verse where Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, by worshipping Krishna with a leaf and a little bit of water from Ganges will satisfy him, and he will bestow any desire of a worshipper. So understanding this, Advaita Acharya worshipped Shaligram Shila with tulsi leaves, or tulsi manjaris, and and Ganges water from Ganges, and requested Mahaprabhu to descend to this world and rescue the dry philosophers of Navadip and overall fallen souls of the age of Kali. Advaita Acharya, as this verse is described, he is Mahavishnu himself. From him, all the Purushavatars emanate. And he is Advaita in the sense he is non-dual. The other meaning of Advaita means non-dual. He is non-different from Krishna himself. So he could have liberated all the living entities and the residents of Navadip himself. But he chose not to do it because he took the mood of a devotee, Bhaktavatar. So he took the mood of a devotee, and considering himself a devotee, he thought that he is not qualified to liberate, to give Krishna prem. So he wanted Krishna to appear himself and instigate or set up commence the Sankirtan movement. So Advaita Acharya is, in the sense, empowered to petition the Lord. So Prabhupada says that Advaita Acharya had the power of attorney to invoke Lord, to ask Lord to appear. If we read in 10th canto, when description of Vasudev comes, Prabhupada talks about Krishnigarbha and Sutapa and Krishnigarbha, and he kind of says that why would you disturb? He says, why would you disturb Krishna to come and appear here? So he kind of puts them lower than Nanda Maharaj, Vasudeva and Devaki, because of their prayer, the Lord has to appear. It's an inconvenience for him to appear in this material world. Now, why inconvenience the Lord to appear in this horrible place? So Prabhupada kind of writes in that mood. But here, Advaita Acharya, being Krishna himself or non-different from Krishna himself, similar to Vasudeva, he has the authority to request the Lord to appear in this planet. Again, Vasudeva and Devaki or Krishnigarbha and Sutapa requested the Lord to appear. They wanted to to fulfill their desire to have Krishna as their child. So they requested him to appear. But here, Advaita Acharya requesting the Lord to appear is not for any selfish motive. He requested the Lord to appear so that he can liberate the entire world. Before Mahaprabhu appeared, the whole Goloka Kera Premadana and the Harinam Sankirtan was completely hidden. It was not available for anyone. It's a topmost secret. Even all other sampradayas never heard of the whole concept of Goloka and the mood of the gopis and Parakya Rasa. So none of these concepts, the finer elements of bhakti, was completely hidden to the living entities. What to speak of living in a horrible material condition. So because of Advaita Acharya's request and Mahaprabhu's appearance, these finer elements of devotional service have been revealed to the most fallen living entities like us. The intimate pastimes of Radha and Krishna, the mood of Radharani, the mood of separation from Krishna. So all the Parakya Rasa, all these finer elements were able to manifest or is available for us to understand because of Advaita Acharya's costless mercy, requesting him to appear. So if it is not for Advaita Acharya, we would never, what to speak of understanding the finer pastimes, we will be rotting in this material world, going through life after life, or residents of